Okay, here we go. Who's hot and who's not? I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet, a bit of a quick fire version. I don't want to go into yapping about the players too much, just sort of like a quick opinion on each player if I can. But yeah, we'll start with Kalen Ponga, who is in the who's not list, being sold after two back to back scores with a bye in between. And it is pretty frustrating. I'm a Kalen Ponga owner, but they're playing the Tigers. He scored 62 against them in round one, and I just don't think you can sell just yet. With the draw they've got coming up, they've got no super hard teams, and he could potentially not play Origin as well, which would be a little bit surprising. But I think if you jumped on after two low games, it just doesn't seem like a time to be selling just yet. I think the Knights are going to bounce back. The Tigers aren't the greatest team. I would say give him one more week. If he can't put up like a 50 plus against the Tigers, then I wouldn't blame you for selling, but I would say definitely hold this week. Mitch Kenny, so he is out injured with a shoulder problem for Penrith. Return date is potentially a couple of weeks. I don't think there's been any confirmation on that, but he's not really a fantasy relevant guy, and I think you can easily move him on. He wasn't scoring very well anyway, so you could look to move him on to like an Aaron Clark if you needed a hooker, or maybe like a Suya Wong or a Toby Couchman if you have a bit of cash in the bank. But yeah, 100% sell Mitch Kenny. John Bateman, uh, tough one here if you did start with him. He's played three 80-minute games in a row, followed by 75 minutes and 66. And we could be looking at sort of a 60 to 70-minute player now, where I just don't know if he's going to be worth having. He's not playing very well NRL wise either, which is potentially why he got less minutes here. Kai O'Donnell came back on for him in the second half. So I think he's one where if you think that he can go back to being that 80-minute guy, I would hold. But I'd be one that he'd be one that I think you can definitely sell, and especially with a bye coming up next week, he's only going to play one game, and then he's got a guaranteed bye. And yeah, I think if you jumped on him, you were sort of hoping for him to average at least 50 going into this bye, and then you'd easily be able to hold him as like a potential keeper. But I think there's better options out there, and I think he's not going to make you much money. Break even to 51. I think you can look to move him on for a guy that like Sui Wong or Toby Couchman once again. So yeah, I'd be selling probably. Seyfarth, on the other hand, I'd definitely be looking to hold. We can see that his role is definitely the 80-minute guy. 64-minute game in here is because of an HIA. A low game last week, 30 points, but as we can see, he got 56 and 60 the weeks before. And I think the Broncos Tigers game in round 5 was a bit of an anomaly. Everyone in that game had bad scores, so I'm just going to count that one as a write-off. His break-even is still 34, and I would definitely be holding. I'd be absolutely happy starting him in my 17 as well. And he's a guy where in 80 minutes, if he's playing second row, he averages just under 50. So in his small handful of games, so I'd definitely be backing these stats and holding on, because priced at 41, he's still got money to make. Jack Bird, wow, people still own him. Ownership getting pretty low, but look, he played 80 minutes on the second row here and only got 27, just missing tackles and not doing much else. He's just seems like he's past it, and he's probably going to get injured very soon. Hopefully not for his sake, but it's just usually what happens. So I'd be looking to sell him for any cash cow that's looking to make money. Tino suspended for one game, 4% owned. I think he's one you could probably hold here. He's a guy that could be a season-long keeper. It's just tough because he will be playing Origin. But I think, he's getting the minutes here. 2 games in the 50s, probably just working back to match fitness, and now he's playing games in the 60s. I think if you can hold him, I definitely would. If you can just use him as a looper, although the Titans do play in the second game, so maybe if you had like a Jenkins, even a Tom Gilbert, you could just use him as a looper. But if you do need to sell him, if you desperately want someone else, then it could be okay. But I would probably be on the side of holding if possible. Zach Lomax being confirmed to be out for 6+ weeks with some kind of injury. I forgot exactly what it was, so he is an easy sell, unfortunately. If you owned him, that would have been a mega pod as well. So, yeah, it's a shame. Thomas Duffy, another sell. Jake Clifford playing well. Duffy won't be in that team anytime soon. Tom Gilbert, one that can definitely be sold if you've had enough of him. He is going to be playing 80 minutes on the edge now. He's not going to be playing lock anymore. Although these 2 games here in round 3 and 4, he did play on the edge as well. So we can sort of see his stat line here. He's going to be tackling, he's going to be running the ball, and he's not much of a tackle breaker or an offloader. So you can definitely look to move him on if you want to, but if we look at his edge starts in his career, there's not too many, but back mainly in 2022 when he was at the Cowboys, he averaged 47.6 in just under 72 minutes here. Sort of same story with the stat line. Tackles, decent run meters, not much else. But he's shown that he can still get the points for you with the base. And priced at 42, he's definitely one you can hold on to. He should be playing the next 7 games up until Origin, so he'll play 6, and then he's definitely a chance to be playing Origin. So yeah, it's one where I think you can definitely move him on, but also hold if you don't feel like trading anyone in. Adam Reynolds, I think he's definitely a hold here. He's been named to play, so I assume he will play, and he was on for a decent score again last week before he got injured. But yeah, I mean, as long as he's named to play, I'd definitely be holding. If he is a late out, then I think you probably still have to hold because he's probably just going to be out for 1 week. But yeah, I assume a lot of owners jumped on sort of round 4 or 5, and if you've done that, I just don't think you can really sell him just yet. But if you did start with him in round 1, I think you could potentially look to sell. He's made you money, and now he's got hamstring tightness, I think it was. So it's a bit of a concern. But the thing is, if he does go out and play the 80 minutes against the Roosters, we saw he got a 65 against them, so he could potentially do that again. So I'd definitely be looking to hold there if he is going to play. Stephen Crichton, I think he is a sell. The Bulldogs are on the bye, but he is just not much of a fantasy relevant player. He will also lose the goal kicking to Matt Burton, as he should be back in round 7 as well. Price at 31, break even at 33, he's not really going to make money, and he will be a shoe-in for Origin as well, so I think you can definitely move him on to someone who is in a better scoring position. Krzyzewski, he's having an up and down sort of fantasy season. 6 points in 52 minutes here. Now his break-even's 30. I think he can easily be sold. It's time to move him on. You don't want that headache in your team every week ever again, I would say. Nwanganita-Waze, so he is on the extended bench, 18th man at the moment. It sounds like he's still dealing with some muscle tightness or cramps or something like that. So you're going to have to keep an eye on the late teams on Friday night. So they play the late game on Friday. If he comes into the team, he's an easy hold, and you could potentially look to start him in your team. But if he's ruled out, then Yeah, it's tough because he's still probably just going to miss one more week. Um, Although he could be dropped from the team, you never know, but it doesn't really sound like it. So I'd probably be looking to hold him, and if he is ruled out, you can look to use him as a looper. He's got the wing fullback centre dual, so he's pretty handy to loop with. So yeah, I'd definitely be holding if I can there. Jack Cole, he is a sell. You can hold him one more week to use him as a loop. His break even's only 16, but with Cleary in the team, he's not really going to be scoring much. He got 29, 19, and 16 with him in the team. And yeah, I think his money making's pretty much done. And yeah, I'd look to sell him at your leisure. Jamie Humphreys out for 4 to 6 weeks with a hammy. Actually, probably more like 5 to 6 weeks. So yep, he's an easy sell as well whenever you want to move him on. Stafford Toa. So we're into the who's hot players. Stafford Toa at the bottom of the list. So people are still buying him. Fair enough. He's scored really well to start the season, averaging 47.8. That does include 4 tries, and centres just don't really maintain a 1 try per game scoring rate. So he's definitely, if I was gambling, I'd say he won't score a try this week, and he'll probably score something in like the 30s. And if he follows that up with a few more 30s, he's only going to make like another 50k, and then he's probably going to be a guy we look to sell. So I would be strongly avoiding Stafford Toa now that he has got to the price of 33. Yeah, I wouldn't be looking to buy him this week. Thomas Can't, yeah, understandable that he's on this list. He's been scoring well, 76 into a 50. And some of that game he was playing centre as well. So he's just seems like a really fantasy relevant scoring type of player. 3 turnover tackles. But yeah, so Dylan Lucas is due to return around this Warriors game, potentially 1 week after for the Rabbitohs game. So if you were buying him now, you'd be getting him for 2 to 3 more games starting, and then what his role would be for this Rabbitohs game, we're not sure, but I assume it would be back to the bench or even out of the team. He's been good, so potentially a bench role, but I see Lucas coming straight back onto the edge, and obviously you've got Kai Pearce-Paul. So in 3 weeks, if you're buying a guy, you'd really be wanting him to score really big, and you can never seem to use this tool. That's great. Oh no, what am I doing? I've buggered it up. So if we put in here 50 for the next 3 weeks, he'll make 92k, which is decent, but I think you can probably just do better. Buy some guys that are more nailed in the team, for example, Suya Wong or Toby Couchman, who are both nailed in their teams. It would seem a lot more nailed than Thomas Can't, and both are kind of similar price, and yeah, they're both going to be potential keepers as well, where Thomas Can't, you're going to have to sell him because I don't think he's going to maintain a spot in the team, so I'd probably avoid buying him. Hiroti had a nice game covering for KL Iro, although Iro could be 3 to 4 weeks away. I don't think there's been a timeline confirmed, but priced at 29, you'd be wanting him to average, low 40s at least to make you some quick cash, because he's definitely not going to hold his spot, I would say. And if we look at his historic average, it's 34. So I just don't think he's a guy you should be buying at this point, because his role is too unknown. Don't know how long he's going to be in the team for. Jai Gray, interesting one. I did not expect him to be in here. So yeah, still playing fullback for the Bunnies. He's priced at 44 now, so if you were jumping on now, you'd really be expecting him to be a keeper. And I just don't think he's going to be that guy. Once the Rabbitohs get their troops back, which looks like it'll be around round 9 or 10, Campbell Graham, Humphreys, Cody Walker, Alex Johnson, who's already back. So that'll probably end up pushing Jai Gray out of the side or to the utility spot, as Latrell will move out of the halves and back into fullback, I presume. And it just feels way too risky. You're banking on Gray continuing to play really well and hold his spot at fullback over Latrell, and I just don't know if I can see it happening. So yeah, I would be avoiding Jai Gray. Katoga, I think this is probably the last week you can get on, just because of the fact that his reserve grade stats, he's not the most notable fantasy scorer. He started the season well here. When he started, he's averaged, about 40, and I think he can continue doing that. So yes, I think you can buy him this week, and you can slot him into your starting centres, although he will be playing in a hot game, I believe, in Darwin or Perth. But yeah, he's definitely still a buy. I think I'd probably just prefer to buy him over Hubner. Hubner got a few extra minutes last week. I think we can probably project him around 50 minutes, where I think he'll average in the high 30s. So he's probably still a buy just as well. But I definitely want to see how the Rabbitohs bench rotation goes now that they have 4 forwards on the bench, although that may change once they get more players back from injury. But yeah, Hubner and Katoga, I'd probably, if you had to make a decision between buying one of those two, I'd go based off what position you need more. So if you need a mid, centre or edge. But yeah, both solid buys. Not amazing as they were a couple of weeks ago, but they're still okay. Jaden Campbell, getting pretty expensive now, priced at 56, averaging 58. So I think if you like what you see from him, you can definitely still jump on. But I just wouldn't be expecting much more than a 60 average. But that's absolutely fine. That's still a couple of points of value. And yeah, he's showing all the right things to be a keeper. He's got the great kick meter numbers, run meters are pretty decent, and tackle numbers are alright as well. Goal kicking as well, very helpful. So yeah, Campbell was a guy you can probably jump on if you want. Got the half dual as well, half wing fullback dual, so you can slot him into your halves as well. Hugo Savala, so it says his break even's 39 here, but I believe it's actually like 70 something. But he's a guy where I think we can just sit back and watch him this week. If he plays all right, if it looks like he's going to hold that spot over Townsend, he'll be an easy buy next week, and he should still be 230k, because I don't think he's going to hit his 70 break even. So he could also potentially take the goal kicking off Sandon Smith. We'll just have to see. And his reserve grade stats are quite good as well. So he's a guy that you can jump on this week if you want, but it's just that there's going to be some guys further up that are more urgent buys that are going to be, their price is going to get away from you if you don't buy them this week. So yeah, just keep an eye on Savala, watch how he plays, see if you like how he plays, and if you think he's going to maintain that halfback spot for the Roosters, and one to look at next week. Thomas Jenkins, still maintaining that starting spot for Penrith, named at centre, but I believe he'll probably play on the wing again. We'll just have to see. Regardless, playing the Dolphins, Penrith have lost 4 in a row. I think they're going to be absolutely rearing to go, and I think Jenkins is due to score a try as well. So I think he's a great buy, even at 347k. Penrith outside backs just seem to average in the high 30s. They just get tries, and yeah, I think he's going to make you enough money still to be a buy, but I think this is probably the last week to be jumping on, and I'd be pretty confident in starting him tonight as well. I probably will be. Toby Couchman, so yeah, he's going to be a very popular buy this week. Last week he scored 69 points in 69 minutes, 3 offloads to hand. Really solid stat line here, 40 tackles, 135 metres gained. And if it hadn't gone to extra time, he presumably would have played 65 minutes. He started the game, played 60 minutes straight, and then came on for the last 5. So yeah, if that's going to be his role going forward, we see Emre Gula is still going to be out. It seems like Flanagan does not want to play Blake Laurie big minutes. You've also got Little on there who he's persisting with only playing like 30 minutes a game. And then you've got Egan with coming off the bench for about 50 minutes, but then Leilua is not going to be playing the 80. And then their other bench guy, let's just take a look at who that is. I can't think of him on the spot. Oh, Hamish Stewart. So yeah, he's probably going to be in that like 30 to 35 minute role. So yeah, plenty of minutes there for Couchman, and I think he is a guy that you can absolutely still buy, and he's one I'm looking at this week. Price at 48, I think he can average 53 to 55, which is basically keeper level scores, and if you were buying him, you'd be doing so with the view that he's going to be a season-long keeper, and the fact that he won't be playing Origin, he's already had a buy out of the way as well. I think he's going to be a pretty good guy to have, the dual position. So, yeah, I think he's really breaking out this season, and yeah, one that you can definitely look to buy this week. Jake Clifford, one I'm probably not as hot on. So he's played 3 games so far, average of 61.7. But if we look at that, that's including 2 tries, that's including 6 turnover tackles. But his kick meter is good, run meter is not so much, tackle stats are okay. But he does have the bye next week, so I think it's tough because there's a guy like Jamal Fogarty out there who is a proven gun. He's got all the base stats you need, and he just seems more appealing than Clifford. He doesn't have the bye as well. I think he's probably going to be the next guy. It is. So we'll quickly look at Fogarty. So he is averaging 54.2 compared to Clifford's 61. So averaging 7 points less. However, he doesn't have a bye until round 15. And he's just going to be... I think he's going to be more reliable. Clifford has been scoring well, but look, I think I'd give it one more game. If we see him go well against the Rabbitohs, then maybe we have to consider Clifford as a keeper half, but I'd probably just want to see it one more time, to be honest, and I can't recommend him as a buy this week. However, I can recommend Jamal Fogarty as a buy. We saw last year he was averaging really high, 55 points, and priced at 52. I think he can definitely replicate that sort of 55 average. He has heaps of kick meters in his game. He's kicking goals, obviously, something that Clifford doesn't have. It's just he does pick up a few missed tackles, only 2.7 point per game, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I definitely prefer Fogarty, just because he's obviously nailed in the team. Or if Clifford goes through a bad patch of form, he could get dropped for Tom Duffy as well. Because with these two guys, you're really going to be wanting to buy them as season-long keepers, not having to sell them later on in the season. So yeah, Fogarty wins that battle for me in most categories. All right, our final 3, we got Suya Wong, a guy that I really thought the ship had sailed, and possibly still think that way, but it may just be my sort of bad experience owning him last season. We see here he's played 3 80-minute games and 2 in the high 60s, and he's averaging 57. So yeah, it's looking like, honestly, he still could be a buy here, and his break-even of 4, priced at 44. If he continued averaging sort of low 50s, he's still a buy, and it seems that, the Roosters only player that's out in their rotation at the moment is going to be Lindsay Collins, and I just don't know if that would push Radley or Butcher into playing any edge minutes. It's another one where I just wish we had a full strength Roosters team and I could see exactly how the rotation is going to work, but we're not going to get that. So I think if you like what you've seen from Wong, he's absolutely still a buy you can jump on. However, keep in mind how many Roosters you own, and keep in mind that you may be buying Hugo Savala as well. The Roosters have a bye in round 10, so if you have 3 or 4 Roosters players in round 10, if you have another guy that gets an HIA, suspension, injury, you could be looking pretty bad for round 10, although you could look to sell players with trades, obviously, and make up for that, but it's a worry. And then the Roosters also have a bye in round 14 and round 17, so yeah, it's tough, and I just don't know if I can go into him, just considering the buys and the fact that Couchman is sort of a kind of similar option that I don't own any Dragons players, so I think you just have to weigh up your sort of team makeup and make a decision from there. But both of these guys are decent buys this week, I would say. Nathan Cleary, the second most popular player of the week, and very understandably so, bounced back from his HIA fail with a 71, where it really didn't look like he did much. The most promising thing here is the 154 metres gained, which means he's going to have the ball in his hands more often, which is going to lead to tackle breaks and offloads. So, yeah, I sort of said in my previous video that I'm a little bit worried about how Cleary's going to be playing, just with they've lost 4 games in a row. Maybe they're going to change up how they play, their sort of strategies in the game, where maybe he's just going to do more kicking and less running, and Blaze Talangi could maybe take over with the ball running. But look, I just still, regardless, I think Cleary is a guy that is going to be a season-long keeper in your team. It's kind of too scary not to own him. And what I was kind of going into is probably just like a devil's advocate kind of argument. It's probably not going to happen. So what I should be saying is Cleary is an absolute buy. It's probably going to be pretty easy to buy him using Jamie Humphries if you have him to sell. So yeah, 745k, priced at 55. I don't think you're going to get him any cheaper than this. So yeah, I'd be getting Cleary in priority buy this week. And our top buy for the week is Dylan Egan, price at 23, break even of -3. So he's played 2 games, 46 points in both of them. Really solid base. He loves a tackle, 34 tackles in both. All right run meters there. And if you're jumping on now, you're expecting an average of just mid-30s. Even 33 would be okay for him to make enough money to be a good buy. And in a 50-minute role, scoring 33, I think that's absolutely possible. And yeah, I think he's a guy that I'd recommend buying to everyone. And yeah, it's as simple as that. I'll be buying him this week, and you probably should too. And you can probably start him in your 17 as well. So I'll leave it at that. Good luck. Enjoy your trades. Enjoy Thursday night if you're captaining Nathan Cleary. I might be, I might not be. We'll just have to see. Potentially have some head-to-head opponents listening to this, so we'll just have to keep it a mystery for now. And yeah, good luck, everybody. See you later.